Joined by Cam Robinson, our draft insider from Nashville and lead prospects director of film scouting. So set us the scene there, buddy. Where you at? What you up to?
Got in late last night. Made it in time for the post awards show media function there. So got some free food and drink on Barry Bettman's tab, which was a good time for sure. I got to shake some hands and kiss some babies. And now sitting in the lobby waiting ahead of Patrick Albine's press conference here. And GM's walking by, presidents all hanging out right kind of within arm's reach of me here. So hopefully I don't say anything too disastrous on the air here.
Yeah, well, we're going to go through a mock draft here in a second. They might be interested observers to our exercise.
So no Tootsies last night? You're saving Tootsies for tonight? Is that what's happening?
We hit up Tootsies. Yeah, that was the last spot.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. We shut her down to Tootsies there, yeah.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the last spot. So it was a late night, but we're working on fumes. That's the job this week.
And you're on Pacific time. You had the power of Pacific time in your corner. So
finally,
you were a
right?
champ.
Yeah. You know, if I was writing the scouting report on Cam Robinson, I would say, plays well on the dance floor and he plays hurt as well.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Here he is.
Okay, so we're going to do a mock draft down to the 11th pick, and then each of us is going to pick a prospect for the Vancouver Canucks at number 11. But you're taking care of the top 10 picks for us here, Cam, and we'll just rifle through these, and we're going very boring with the first three. We're going Connor Bedard to Chicago, Adam Fantilli to Anaheim, and Leo Carlsson to Columbus. Although you were saying there's a little bit of scuttlebutt now about the top three picks. What's going on there? What's the rumor in Nashville?
Like I said, I've got Pat Verbeek about an inch away from me here, but there's a lot of chatter about Anaheim at 2 there and what they're going to do. So I don't know, like you said on there, there's always some buzz a day or two ahead of this thing. But I heard from multiple people there that they're looking at all options, and that includes Will Smith.
As they should.
That includes Matthew Mishkov.
Oh, Will Smith. Oh,
yes, I know, and that was a surprising one. And from a pretty trusted person there, they said that they have been hearing that his name frequently coming up at 2, and that Carlson's a very viable option for them too. So I mean, we've always thought the fun was going to start at 4, but it might start at 2.
Yeah. Well, let's work on the premise that the fun starts at 4. San Jose on the clock, and then Montreal at number 5. Cam, take us through who you got going there.
Okay, so we're going Will Smith at number 4, heading to San Jose. I don't think he falls past 4. I think maybe gets to 5 in the real world here if something fun goes on. But Silky center, great playmaker, got good hands. Obviously, put up monster points in the program. He's got top line upside. I think that there's still some work to be done on the defensive side of things, and really fighting to get into the net front and get into those hard areas. But he's got the skill, and he's got the confidence too. So I think he'd be a pretty good pick at 4 there for San Jose.
And judging by the NHL award shows and their penchant for questionable humor, there will be a Fresh Prince reference the minute he's drafted. Correct?
Oh, without a doubt. Every time I gift him this year, someone was making some sort of slap joke, and people just can't help themselves, right?
I can't wait for it. Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
number 5.
Number 5, we're going David Reinbacher to the Habs. Okay, the big defenseman there, righty, 6'2", mobile, mean, loves to hit. We'll see about his offensive upside, but there's enough in there to get him 30-35 points for sure. And chew up some minutes.
Do you think there's any chance they slot him in next year? That any team, whoever ends up getting him, do you think they'd use him next year?
If anybody outside of 1-2 is going to make the show, it's probably him. I could see in a certain situation, because he played pro hockey, because of the size, the mobility, that yes, there is a world where I could see him in the NHL next season.
Right.
Arizona at number 6, Cam.
Yeah, we're going Ryan Leonard. So he's had a lot of juice here, especially late in the year. We all watched what Matt Tkachuk did in the playoffs. Teams are looking for the next Matt Tkachuk, and I'm not sitting here and saying Ryan Leonard is the next Matt Tkachuk because he's not as big. If he was 6'2", you could argue maybe that's what he's got in him. But he's a bit smaller, but he plays like that. He puts guys on their butts regularly, playing against Div 1 players in the NCAA there too when they play up, and he's rocking kids that are 23, 24 too. So he's got a lot of juice, and I think for Arizona, who has some smaller skill players too, that to a player like him, that he could really make things happen.
Philly at 7.
This one is I've been talking about it forever, and I think it's just a perfect kind of setup. Is Dalibor Dvorsky? He looks like a Philadelphia Flyer. The way he plays, he's he plays straight up. He's got some physicality. He loves to get to the greasy areas and score goals the hard ways. Pro body center. I think it's, unless they get fun and they go with Mishkov, which is something else I've heard recently. I'm taking Dvorsky at this spot.
Hey, Mitchkoff is one of the landing spots there is 7 if he falls, because as Cam notes, Brer and them have committed to a long-term rebuild. As Blake has said, whoever is taking Mitchkoff is a GM who's secure in his future with the club and likely early in his tenure. Washington at number 8, my friend.
There you go. Here's Matt V. Mishkov for you. I don't think he gets past 8. We'll see if he even gets that far in real life here. But yeah, I'm sending him to Washington. They sat on Evgeny Kuznetsov forever, waiting for him to come over. Obviously, they handled Alex Ovechkin, which was pretty easy to do. But they know how to bring over Russians and get them into the lineup too. So yeah, I'm taking Mishkov, the elite goal scorer. The slide stops at 8.
All right, so we're starting to get down to the nitty gritty here for Canucks fans. They're starting to salivate because their center's still on the board. We go to number 9 in Detroit.
Oliver Moore, the speediest player in the class, has this Dylan Larkin-like speed in the middle of the ice. He's not as talented as Dylan Larkin, but he has shades of him. I think that there's a chance that he can go in the top 10, and I think one of these ones that you might get a little oohs and ahs if he goes at 9. But yeah, he's got a lot of skill. And like I said last week, is that we just need the mind to catch up with the feet here a little bit, and he'll get that at school for a couple of years.
Grady Sass is looking at the prop on Oliver Moore on Bodog Cam. They set the over-under at 14.5. Now, under is the slight favorite at 150, but Grady's ready to put his mortgage from Jason Hominick on Moore at under 14.5. Good bet, bad bet?
Yeah, I wouldn't. And I'm a bettor too. I'm a gambling man, but gambling on the draft is not easy money because anything can happen, right? Yeah, I would. If I was honestly, I'd take the over. If I had
really,
to I would. But like, it's a coin flip. Like it just from what I've heard, I know that some teams really like him. And I know some teams that are like, this guy's going to be a third line winger who can help you on the PK and has some good leadership stuff like that. But he's closer to Otto Stenberg than he is to Will Smith. But I do know some teams that really like him too. So it only takes one. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the final pick before the Canucks, the St. Louis Blues at number 10. Who are you sending there?
I'm giving them the Swede, and it's not the one we thought it was going to be. It's Axel Sandin Palika. So he had the great U18s. He's got terrific offensive intelligence, four-way mobility. He's not Quinn Hughes, though. He doesn't have that level of skating, that level of puck skills and intelligence on the ice, but he's that version, just the lighter version, maybe a Sam Girard version of him sort of thing. And St. Louis is looking for some mobility and some punch on the back end, especially if they can convince Krug to waive his no trade clause. And yeah, so that's where we're going with that 10.
Okay.
All right. Well, the three of us now are going to pick for the Vancouver Canucks. We drew lots, and Cam Robinson got the first overall pick. Blake, you're picking second here, and I'll pick third. And we're all going to endeavor here to pick someone different. So, Cam, the floor is all yours. With the 11th overall selection, the Vancouver Canucks select.
They're taking Zach Benson. And I feel excellent about it because I tweeted this out yesterday, is that in the last 25 years, the only U18 skater in the Western Hockey League who had more points than Zach Benson, Connor Bedard. That's it.
Yeah.
That is it in the last 25 years. The fact that this kid is likely to slide to Vancouver and potentially pass them is fairly ridiculous. He is so smart. He has an incredible motor. His playmaking is through the roof. He might not be a center long term. You know, we'd love him to have Braden Point's feet. But to be fair, Braden Point didn't have Braden Point's feet in his draft year either. He was a little more advanced, but, you know, that's something that can come along too because he's got that effort. He's got that mind. I think he can get his skating. It's already good, but get it to be elite. And if he can do that, then he's a center. If not, he's a winger, but he could be a first-line winger that's playing on your team in 2-3 years, making an impact. Vancouver needs skill. They're taking Zach Benson at 11.
Wow.
Well, Mr. Price, the floor is all yours there, and he's left some meat on the bone for you at positions of need.
Yeah, and and I'm going to go with a bit of a surprise. Because at the 11th pick in the NHL entry draft, the Vancouver Canucks select Dimitri Simashev. Foregoing all of the courting we had heard about Tom Willander and others, they go with Simashev because, well, A, they love the little Russian mafia that they're creating here in Vancouver. They love his size, ultimately, and they see his skating as just too good to pass up, so they go Simashev at number 11.
You know, when we were going through this exercise, I said Cam and Blake are going to combine to take Willander and Benson, and I'm going to take Simashev.
So close.
I will go with Willander then, the right shot, all-around defenseman who's got a whole lot of helium here. He's got some size. He's got some offensive ability. He improved vastly this year. And, of course, it's a position of need and from an area of the world where, of course, this general manager, Mr. Alvin, would be quite familiar. Parting thoughts here, Cam Robinson. First of all,
we left Danielson.
We left Danielson on the and
no more. We didn't.
No,
Sorry.
we left Danielson on the board. Yeah. What do you make of Blake and I's selections with Simashev and Willander?
I love them. I think if they came away with any of these 3 picks, I would give them an A because I have all 3 of them in my top 10. So that would be a win if they nailed any of those guys. I'm happy that we left Nate Danielson on the board. He can go at pick 15 or 16, where realistically that's where Simashev is probably going to go. But I like it. I would love it if they took a swing on Simashev. I would be totally happy if they went with Willander too. Both so mobile. That's what you need. You need mobility. And I know that Simashev is on the left side, but there is a potentially all-world stopper in that kid. And who doesn't want one of those?
Yeah. Just for those who, because I saw and retweeted your tweet about Danielson a couple of days ago, the couple of scenarios for this draft that I cannot get down on, and Nate Danielson in the top 12 is one of them. You may have answered this several weeks ago when we were talking about him, but why do you think Danielson is too rich for the Canucks at number 11?
I just don't see the upside. Like he's good. He's got good speed. He can make some plays, but nothing is all that creative. It's all very straight ahead. And he doesn't set up his deeks all that well. I just don't see it translating into a ton of offense at the NHL level. And granted, if you get yourself a legitimate number 3 center at pick 11, you're happy about that. But I think in an organization like this, is like, you don't play it safe, especially after taking the Kiramaki a year ago, which was like the ultimate boomer bust prospect. Is that you don't now go soft on it. Let's take a lower ceiling guy that's safe. It's like, no, let's build the cover with some talent. You can find players like Nate Danielson around. You can find him in the 2nd, 3rd round. You can find him in free agency and trade. Like if you're smart and you can identify guys, if you trust your pro scouts, there's ways to get players like that. There's not ways to get a Zach Benson. There's not ways to get a top pairing right shot defenseman.
What would really help the Canucks selection is if there's a reach candidate who most people have 15 to 32 that somebody reaches for. Who could muddy the waters and not muddy the waters, make the waters more crystal clear maybe for the Canucks at 11 because we start injecting new names in there. For me, I think somebody might fall in love with Colby Barlow and his pugnacity and size and stuff like that. But who do you think could enter the mix and really hasn't been getting much top 12, top 15 love?
I'll give you 2 names here. So Gabe Perreault, that there are a couple teams who love Gabe Perreault, like love him. So he could get in there. And then Matthew Wood too, because he's got the size, he's got the skill. Someone might be like, this is our top line center down the road. If we can get those feet up to snuff, there could be a serious player in there. And I'll give him that is true. If he develops properly, that Matt Wood could be a top 5 player from this class that could be had in the middle of the 1st round.
You know, when you said crystal clear, I thought it was pun intended there with Anderson Crystal. I also think, gents, I for sure. I also think we've talked about him. I think Simashev could go way higher than people think here.
Maybe.
He's the type of player. What do they say about a draft? All it takes is one. And he's the type of specimen that people fall in love with.
Yep.
Much like Steve Yzerman and the Detroit Red Wings several years ago with Moritz Seider. I know he's not Seider, Cam. He's not a right shot guy, and he probably doesn't have the puck skills of Seider. But if you believe in the long term and bigger defensemen taking more time to develop, and especially developing their puck game, then Simashev is a guy that I could see somebody going gaga for in the top 10.
You're speaking my language.
And finally,
I can get fully behind that.
Finally, Cam, have you heard any buzz about moving up or moving down or any sort of movement like that from the Canucks or anybody else for that matter?
I haven't. No, I have not heard any of that stuff yet. So hopefully that starts coming out of the woodwork today or early tomorrow, and we can sneak some of that in there too.
Yeah.
All right. Go bug Verbeek. See if he'll give you the scoop there on number 2. All right.
Yeah, will do. Thanks for having me on, boys.
We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Thanks, Cam. Appreciate it.
This great clip brought to you by, wait for it, Great Clips. It's going to be great.